All right, what I'd like to do is a review for exam 4. Particularly, I'm going to tell you what specific materials you need to look at to cover the materials that you will need to study in exam 4. And we'll do this by looking at your Blackboard site. We're currently in the folder marked weeks of March 9th and March 16th. So the first thing I want to draw your attention to is video 6.1, which contains the max power transfer theorem and the Wheatstone bridge. This semester, we did not go over the Wheatstone bridge, so as you're doing your reviews, you may ignore the part of the review that is on the Wheatstone bridge and instead focus on the examples on max power transfer. There was a Zoom lecture, so this was done last fall, so ignore the Wheatstone bridge information. The Zoom lecture on Thevenin and max power was the class meeting I believe it was Thursday before spring break week. Maybe it was that Tuesday, I don't remember. But this was a full class meeting where we reviewed and did several examples on Thevenin equivalence and the max power transfer theorem. That is a very important lecture for you to watch because a lot of the test materials on Thevenin will come from a similar kind of knowledge. Some of these were a little difficult, and I believe when I made the video I alluded to this would maybe not be the kind of question that you would see on an exam. Then there are 2 additional videos on op-amps and op-amp circuits. The op-amps, there will be 2 op-amp circuits that you will be responsible for knowing. You will need to know the inverting amplifier circuit, and you will need to know the summer circuit. And what exactly do you need to know? You need to know the equation that relates the output voltage to the input voltage, and you need to know which circuit does which thing. So for example, if you were asked to design an inverting amplifier that has a gain of 5 using a 100 ohm input resistor, you would need to know how to design that. Okay, so that would be the kind of question. If you were asked to design a summer circuit that sums 3 different voltages, maybe something like V1 plus 3V2 plus 2V3, you would need to know how to do that given certain resistor parameters. You'd also need to know, if you're given a circuit, how to determine what the output would be. Those are very simple problems because basically the governing equations are given with the circuit schematic, and so there shouldn't be any issue with understanding. It kind of just is what it is. This equation goes with this circuit, this equation goes with this circuit. I'm not asking you to derive anything or write any node voltage equations for the op-amp or analyze any kind of new op-amp circuit. Just want you to know those 2 circuits, inverting amplifier circuit and the summer circuit. And by the way, those need to be the circuits that are illustrated in your textbook and in the lecture notes, not some circuit that you pull off of the internet somewhere. That one I would not count correct unless it, is the same as what we've done. There's a set of the PowerPoint slides that correspond to these 2 lectures, and these 2 lectures were from last year. In addition to that, and I'm looking, I think I need to find that, and when I do, I'll be sure I get that posted. I thought I had that already, but I did do a lecture on the homework for op-amps. I had some requests to go over some op-amp circuits, and so I do have a little short, it's either a video or it's a PowerPoint, and I will post that in this folder and call it op-amp examples. It may be on the site. I know it's on the site. It just, for whatever reason, I'm not seeing it in this folder. So there will be 1 additional video. It should be obvious. It is me going over how to work the homework in this chapter on op-amps. Then finally, from last semester, I posted the PowerPoint and the videos on capacitors, inductors, and applications of capacitors and inductors, and examples of capacitors and inductors. And there was some homework that recently came up that's due on Thursday evening. And you should be able to see that now on Pearson. If you're not, you need to please let me know. All of these are covered as well on the exam. So what is that? That is understanding the max power transfer theorem, simple Thevenin equivalence with dependent sources, 2 different op-amp circuits, the relationships for current and voltage, how to solve one given the other for either an inductor or a capacitor, and the equation for energy stored in an inductor or a capacitor, and how to find that both as a function of time as well as at a particular time, and then a combination of capacitors and inductors. So most of that is covered in this folder. Let me go to the next week, the week of March 22nd. And this is the one I want to really make clear. I reposted the PowerPoint and then and the PowerPoint examples documents, so those are also posted in last week's folder. But I added 2 new videos, reviewing examples on inductors and reviewing examples on capacitors. This is the point where you should stop your studying for the exam. Okay, so beginning with video 8-1, RL and RC natural response, from there on to the end of the folder, that is new material, and it is not essential for the exam. The exam will not cover RL and RC natural response, step response, or examples. Having said that, after you complete your study for the exam, you should begin viewing these videos, because we will finish up RL and RC natural and step response next week. So, and in fact, these are pretty much all the videos that I will post. So I could have said week of March 22nd-29, because I don't think we'll be ready necessarily to start AC next week, but I do want to do some math reviews next week. So I'll just keep this folder labeled March 22nd. You know that by the end of the week, you should have had all of the videos watched. But once again, and it looks like I need to, okay, these are just the PowerPoints. So once again, this RL and RC not covered on the exam, but inductors and capacitors by themselves and their VI relationships are covered on the exam. So now a word about the exam. The exam will be during the class time on Thursday from 11 to 12:30 or 12:20. It will be set up to be an 80-minute exam. You will not have extended time either side of the class meeting time, so you will need to make arrangements to take the exam during the normal class meeting time. It will not use Proctorio, so all you'll do is sign into Blackboard and take the exam. You will need to keep your work and upload that in a different place. So basically, you're going to answer per question on the exam in Blackboard, and then you'll need to submit your written work separately. You will have a little bit of time after you complete the exam to be able to do that. The only thing is you must have work that supports your answers, and the answer on your work needs to be the same as the answer you entered on Blackboard. So that's kind of my check. So I'm giving you some time to submit your written work for those of you who have a class that immediately follows this one. If you need to go to that class, I will probably set up the time limit on turning in written work at 6 o'clock on Thursday, give or take an hour. So let me get that set up so that you have a place to submit that work. Otherwise, you'll be entering, as I said, primarily either sketches of circuits or answers only into Blackboard. So you absolutely must have supporting work for that, or else I can't give you any kind of partial credit if you have an error. So I'm going to grade your work, but I want your answers in. The system will be set where you have only 80 minutes. If you try and work beyond 80 minutes, the exam will auto-submit with your answers. So be sure you list your answers as you go onto the Blackboard site And after 80 minutes, the system is cut off and you will not be able to submit any more answers. So don't send me an email. Don't tell me something bad happened and you couldn't get it in, and would I please take it via email, because I will not. The only option is to submit on Blackboard during the time of the exam, during your class. I will send out, before the exam, I will send out my cell phone number, and if you have an issue with internet access or Blackboard failure, you need to send me a text, okay? Do not send me a text if you have some other issue and I can't fix Blackboard. So if you have a Blackboard issue, you have to contact the Blackboard administrators at the university, and they are, if you're in the middle of taking an exam, they are generally really good and really quick to get back with you. Nor do I have any ability to help you if your internet goes down at your house, if you're taking the test at home. If you have unreliable internet, please go somewhere else to take the exam. So once again, because we're not using Proctorio and because we're taking the exam during class hours, if you have an issue and for whatever reason you don't get that submitted within 80 minutes and you don't tell me that you have an issue before the class is over, then I'm not going to count the exam. Okay, so obviously, because it's not monitored by Proctorio, the exam is for all practical purposes open book. I will monitor the Chegg site for people who post questions on exam questions on Chegg and try to get answers off that. Chegg actually allows the university to monitor that. So I will monitor that Chegg site for posting of questions from this exam, and if I see that people have posted, Chegg actually does have the ability to track your account information, and they will do that for universities. And so anyone posting on Chegg and getting answers from Chegg or posting answers on Chegg will get a 0 on the exam. So just be aware of that we do monitor that. And we also monitor what we can on some of the other sites like Discord. So you're on the honor system to not work with other people, but you may use your book and notes. And be careful with other internet sites, because when you Google things like inverting amplifier, you can get different circuits pop up than what we've discussed in class. So it'll become really obvious that you're doing something that we didn't really go over in class and in the notes. I mean, really the most straightforward thing is just, download the PowerPoint files, have them handy, watch the videos so that you know where we are and what we're doing. Look at the homework problems, which are a little more difficult than what you would normally get on an exam. So that is, excuse me, that is the situation with exam 4. I also want to announce some changes and modifications to the structure and format of the class. For a lot of reasons, some of them mine and some of them yours. I have had a lot of people who have just had tremendous difficulty for whatever reason attending the live class, and Zoom has been fairly unreliable as far as being able to actually capture video. So what I intend to do for the remainder of the semester is the lecture materials, including the hand-worked problems, if that's relevant, will all be pre-recorded and posted. So we will no longer have Zoom or Collaborate Ultra lectures, nor will you be required to attend the class meeting via Collaborate or Zoom. All of the materials will be available in pre-made videos. Now, having said that, my intention is to be present during class meeting time via Collaborate Ultra to take questions. So it will be a question and answer, review, help you with homework, etc. Take advantage of this. I know a lot of you, like to utilize Chegg, you like to utilize tutors. I will just tell you that it wasn't in your class, but it was in another class. I had a student who went on to Chegg with a bunch of stuff on the exam, it became obvious that they had done that. Stuff that was written down on the exam was nothing we had ever even remotely mentioned in class, and they were just totally on the wrong track, probably because whoever gave them the answer on check didn't know what they're doing. So that's a really high risk kind of deal. So please take advantage of me and my ability to help you with circuits. It is tremendously helpful if you pre-email any questions, because then that allows me to write some things out by hand on my iPad and bring that into the Collaborate session. I can't do that live, but I can certainly do it in advance, not 5 minutes in advance. Also, if you can be patient while we're actually on Collaborate, if you have a new question, I can work it out for you and then, put it up. But it might take a couple or 3 minutes of dead air to do that. So, to summarize, class attendance will no longer be absolutely required. You will be required to view the videos. I do have the ability to view to track who does and does not view the videos through Blackboard. I can see how many views they had and who actually viewed that. So, your job is to view the videos, take notes as you view the video, write down questions, and then during the class meeting, we'll structure that as a Q&A. If nobody shows up at the beginning of class, I will wait 10 or 15 minutes for people to show up and ask questions. And if no one is present, I will cancel. If I get continued lack of participation, then we will just do on an as requested. If you need to meet with me, just send me a quick email giving me a heads up that you will be there at 11, and I will be sure that I am online and in the Collaborate classroom. Okay, so hopefully that addresses questions about the future of the class. After this, there will be 2 more exams. One will be on transient circuits and some math review. And then the final, and it's not a final, it's just the last exam, will be on AC circuits. So that's what remains in the semester. The other thing that I want to talk about is I've been, as have you, incredibly frustrated with the quality of homework that is available on Pearson. I don't like their selection of problems, and they're not necessarily what I think should be emphasized. So going forward, we will not use the online homework system. So you do have some homework due on Thevenin and Max Power. I have had an unbelievable number of requests to delay that due date until Thursday night. So I will do that. I will make the inductor and capacitor homework online optional. If you have a 0 on a previous homework assignment, I really, really strongly suggest that you do that inductor and capacitor homework that's online, and you do it online. Otherwise, you can do that offline so that you learn the material. Please do the homework, because you will not pass the test if you don't. But future homework assignments will not be done through the Pearson online system. I will provide you with homework problems. You will work the problems, you will take a screenshot, and you will upload it to Blackboard. And I will have the TA view it and give you credit if it is complete. So it will be from now until the end of the semester, it will be a completeness grade based on the fact that you did it and submitted it. That means that I will absolutely not delay any due dates. That's just kind of how we're changing the format, really to accommodate continuing difficulties with just the online system in general, and what is and is not possible for me to do and possible for you to do. So I think that will make from now through the end of the semester go much more smoothly, and we'll have much fewer problems and less drama. So the only thing you really have to be responsible for is you have to show up online on Blackboard to take the exam at the designated time, because availability will be limited to the 80 minutes that we have during class. I think that's all I wanted to cover today. I will continue to communicate extensively with you via email. I have a lot of you who are not reading my emails, as evidenced by the number of people who are still trying to show up on Zoom classes scheduled March 11th. We don't have any more Zoom meetings scheduled. Okay, I will be available on Blackboard Collaborate, but I am basically canceling my Zoom membership because I think it has just been too unreliable, takes up too much bandwidth, and what Texas Tech supports on Zoom is not really sufficient for our class needs. So basically, once again, class meetings are here 100% for your benefit. So you show up ready to ask questions, ready to see example problems worked. If you have any questions, ready with anything that was unclear on the videos, just be sure you take good notes so that you can ask me specific questions. Otherwise, we don't want to have to go back and rewatch the video during class. Okay, so just to sum up, the exam is on Thursday this week. It is from 11 to 12:20. It is done on Blackboard. It will not use Proctoria. First part of this video summarized what will be covered. Some of the questions you might expect some multiple choice. You will have to do some work to come up with the correct answer. Other questions you might expect a short answer. And outside of that, that's really all I had as far as review for the exam today. And hopefully this clears everything up. If you have any additional questions, nothing is changing as far as the grading policy. And I will certainly stick with the syllabus on that. We're a little bit behind schedule as far as what we're covering on different exams, but that's okay because there was a lot of fluff built into the syllabus to allow for us to make up time. So I will, I guess I will let you know when the exam is made out if I have any changes. Otherwise, please use this video for guidance on how to study for that. Thank you.